And for young actors making their debut in the show, coming up against the women of Coronation Street was an intimidating but inspiring experience.
I've never been any good at telling people what to do.
Don't be so wet.
The first day of going into Corrie, anyone will tell you, is a pretty full-on experience.
I might be able to get the pick of your cast off.
You're not that desperate.
30 years ago, when I started, I had the most amazing female characters, and those actresses trained me in the way of Coronation Street.
So you're Elsie Tanner? Yeah, Jim's told me about you.
I remember my first scene, I had to sack Elsie Tanner. That for a start. You don't go in and you say, hello, how do you do that? Next minute, you're going and having a rouse scene with Pat Phoenix and telling her she's not needed in the cafe anymore. I thought I was going to die.
Well, if you do come back, it'll not be as Great White Chief, will it? You'll just be another dog's body on dog's body's wages.
Could you give me a couple of days to think it over?
Well, suit yourself, but don't take too long about it, eh?
Well, when I first went into the show, most of my scenes, even before I started working with David properly, were with Amanda Berry, who plays Alma, and she was an absolute legend to me. She was so brilliant in showing me the ropes and telling me just quietly how it works.
Do you like it?
Yes, I was just wondering where to put it. I was a bit frightened of Vi Carson for absolutely no reason, because she was a wonderful woman. And I think that's because of her character, no other reason. On my first week, I sat on her chair, because they all had their own chairs. And woe betide you if you got the wrong one. And she just said, that's my chair, dear. Yes, Miss God.
For me, it was petrifying because it was like walking through a northern Madame Tussauds and everybody had come to life. And after the first day, I went out on Oxford Road and I threw up in a bush because of the nerves that I'd managed to keep in all day.
I hope Alma's not leading you astray, Hayley.
Astray?
We'd be in their office with all the greats.
Yes, ladies, what can I get you?
And it'd hit you like a ton of bricks suddenly. You'd suddenly just go, I'm in the office. What am I doing here? I'm not 5 years old watching it with my mum and dad and brother anymore. I'm actually in here, and it is quite an overwhelming thing.
From the opening episode to the present day, the women of Weatherfield have had unmistakable looks. Real roles, real clothes. All you had to do was act the part.
Liz got voted the worst dressed woman on television, and I think that's probably correct.
Oh, Liz, the fashionators of Liz.
This is from a job interview.
Oh, little Hayley, look at her.
Me, no matter what I do, I end up a mess.
Hayley, just stop selling yourself short. You look wonderful.
Oh, Hayley. And you'll be wearing that cardigan for the next, I don't know how many years.
Brilliantly liberating to play. The nastier the skirts and blouses, the better, as far as I was concerned.
If I was out buying my own clothes, I used to get Shirley something, and I'd always get her something a bit smaller, just to look really, in the leather pants and all that malarkey. I don't think I'll get in them now.
Come on then, Hayley, let's hit them shops.
Hayley's entire look was me and the costume designer. So we went around the shops and found the iconic red anorak in Dorothy Perkins. There was a headline in one of the national newspapers a couple of years later saying that they'd had to stop this line of red anoraks because nobody was buying them anymore, because Hayley was no fashion icon.
I find it really difficult to play her if I'm wearing flat shoes. She can't walk in the shoes, but she has the highest heels, and that helps get into character.
I completely assumed that I would be wearing a wig because my hair was short and bleached at the time. And I went in and they were like, well, that's no good. And I said, I thought I'd have a wig. So they had to find one. We just found it in a cupboard and shoved it on my head, and that was it. And Hayley was born. Shall we sally forth then?
Just this morning, I walked into my dressing room and there were 2 tops hanging up and a little note stuck on them that said, what do you think of these for Liz? And they are truly awful, but Liz would love them.
Apart from an often misjudged sense of style, what has always united the women of Coronation Street is the knack of turning disaster into comedy, with a weary look or a witty one-liner.
That isn't a problem. That is just a relic of my sordid past.